video just after that verdict was given by the Supreme Court, fulfilling your promise where you said that you would dance if the Labour Party loses this case in court. What's your grouse with the presidential candidate of the Labour Party? At some point, it looks like you were supporting him, but it also almost now seems like there is a U-turn, and you do have some grouse against him.
That is false, and you need to be factual, Precious. I never supported him as the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. When he was a member of my party, he and I were friends, and I began, building him up because I had an agenda. My agenda was to suggest him as the vice presidential candidate to a friend of mine, Waziri Atiku, which I did. Peter Obi, I'm saying this right now, if I'm lying, come out and expose me. Waziri Atiku, if I'm lying, come out and expose me. I was the one who suggested Peter Obi to Waziri Atiku as his running mate. In 2019, two people have shown satanic tendencies in this election cycle. The two of them, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and Peter Obi. Why do I say this? Look at what happened in heaven. Satan wanting to be where God was, and then eventually it led to war in heaven, and he had to be cast down. You had a man, Yemi Osinbajo, who was made vice president by Bola Tinubu because at that time in 2015, a Muslim ticket would have been destructive for the APC. So he was a placeholder. And then this man came out and then decided to contest against a person who made him politically. He was an ordinary lecturer. He was not known in the political circuit. He has no political might of his own. He was brought out by Bola Tinubu, dusted up, made his boy, made Attorney General of Lagos, and then made Commissioner for Justice, and also became vice president, and then he decided to bite the hand that fed him. That was an act of, I don't care if the man says that he's a pastor, that is religion, that is not godliness. That man is a satanic man in his behavior. Now, let me finish, please.
Mr. Mokri, just hold on. Let's not attack personalities.
I'm allowed to give my opinion. Please allow me to finish.
Please, let's not attack personalities, saying someone is satanic.
I'm allowed to give my opinion.
Yes, but not attack personalities, please.
Now, so coming to Peter Obi was somebody that was brought in to the People's Democratic Party. He wasn't a member of our party from the get-go. He came into our party, we brought him into our party, dusted him up, made him vice presidential candidate to Waziri Atiku. And then this man now decided to contest against him. It was not Bola Tinubu that defeated Waziri Atiku. It was Peter Obi that defeated Waziri Atiku because before the election, I told him, and when he didn't listen, I wrote it in my this day column. I said, listen, you cannot win the elections. You have no pathway to victory. The maths don't add up. The only thing that you're going to be doing in this election cycle is that you are going to divide the votes of the People's Democratic Party and make it impossible for our candidate to win. And indirectly, you're going to be responsible for the All Progressive Congress winning. And look at what happened. Look at the election results. 8.3 million for Bola Tinubu. Look at what we got. If you take Waziri Atiku Abubakar's votes, if you take Peter Obi's votes, if you take the votes from Rabbi Mr. Kwankwaso and you add them all together, 14 million votes, that's what it comes to. We would have won that election if not for Peter Obi. And that's why I maintain what I said, that these two people, they showed satanic tendencies during this election.
Again, Mr. Mokri, I really have to repeat that you can attack people in that manner. It is unacceptable. We like to have very civil conversations.
No, that is not true. I know the MBC Act. I've got a master's in law.
Absolutely, but this is not just about. Mr. Mokri, just a minute.
I'm allowed to say.
Absolutely, and that's why you were invited. But just a minute. This is not about MBC Act. Absolutely. This is not about MBC Act. This is about the kind of conversation that I like to have on the show. I like to have really civil conversation. All right, let's move it forward.
This is not about the kind of conversation that you want to have. You've invited me to give my opinion, and I'm going to give my opinion whether you like it or not. Now, conduct this interview and make sure that you know that it is not about you.
All right, moving on, but I really love to have a civil conversation with you. But let's move on
it's
now.
It's a civil conversation.
Just a minute, Mr. Mokri. I want us to move because we have a lot of questions.
No, please. You need to control yourself. This is a civil conversation.
It is absolutely.
Giving my opinion about people is a civil. If I come out and then I libel somebody, that is an uncivil conversation. But if somebody has behaved in a particular manner, and I say that the person has behaved in that manner, it is not uncivil. Now let us continue with the conversation. Ask your questions.
All right, moving on with the conversation. I wanted to also ask you, because you have said that these people, it was Peter Obi who defeated Atiku. But some people will say, look, that's a manner of, you're speaking based on morals and good conscience. That I mean, the Constitution allows him to run. And at that time, your party should have also zoned the ticket not to the north, seeing that by unwritten arrangement, it was time for the south.
Well, again, you see, that's what I say, that people are very emotive, especially in Nigeria. A lot of people are very emotional, and especially, would I say, some parts of the country more than the other. If you look at the People's Democratic Party, I'm a foundation member of the People's Democratic Party. I was in Obasanjo's house. So a lot of these people, they met me in the PDP. I did not meet them. And I know the laws of the PDP. I know the rules of the PDP. What usually happens is that in the zoning arrangements of the People's Democratic Party, you allow a region hold the position of the presidency or the presidential candidate twice, and then it goes to the other zone. So now let's go into history. You had 1999, Olusegun Obasanjo, and also 2003, Olusegun Obasanjo. And then in 2007, you had Yar'Adua. Unfortunately, President Yar'Adua died, and then it went to the south, in which case it went to the south-south. When it went to the south-south, you had President Goodluck Jonathan 2011 and 2015. It was zoned to them. Now, when it got to 2019, it got to the north. And so, because the last PDP president was from the south, and so the north was meant to have two slots. When you talk about zoning, we are not talking about, zoning is not a constitutional matter. It's not a matter for Nigeria. It's a matter for a party. It's a party matter. It's a partisan matter. So by virtue of the procedures of zoning, it was still the time for the north. Now, some people in our party were a bit emotional. Others were moved by their own personal ambition, and they did not understand this. And that, so you need to understand this. This is power. When you're talking about power, you can't be emotional. You need to be logical. You need to be focused on what cannot lie, laws, logic. If you start being emotional, you will never get power.